Become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm for hard to find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the Golden Era of bodybuilding. Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here. Today I'd like to look at how the Saxon Brothers trained for the bench press and for many of their other strength feats. Now the Saxon Brothers were great strongmen, known as the great German giants of strength, and arguably the greatest bench presses the world has ever seen. Today we're going to look at their logical but balls to the wall approach to training the bench press and odd lift practiced during the Bronze Era, which I've introduced in previous videos, and a strength feat commonly performed in the late 1800s and early 1900s. In this video we will see how the Saxons focused their training, tailoring it to the bench press, and how this led them to achieve superhuman strength, there's no other way to put it, and strength feats that have stood the test of time. Let's get straight into it. Now when I first started learning about the Saxon trio and their bench pressing efforts, it's amazing how they actually started off this incredible story of bench pressing champions. They actually started training at a really young age, and I'm talking about when they were kids. I mean, just like normal kids would be playing football or playing with toys. Arthur, for example, began bench pressing at the age of 14. Herman, his younger brother, at the age of 10. And Kurt Younger, still at 8 years of age, began bench pressing. Can you believe it? These guys did it since they were kids. Bench pressing nearly every day because their act, even at such a young age, included the bench press. They trained on this lift for hours every single day, and on weekends when they would put on their shows, for example, they would train right after breakfast, continue this until lunchtime, which was usually in the early afternoon around 3 p.m, then train again until dinner time. We're talking all day. After this, after dinner, they would bike ride to the music hall in town where they would perform 2 shows, and in between these shows they would even train again. These guys lived and breathed the bench press. They were absolutely obsessed with it, and no wonder they became the greatest bench pressers of all time. Now when I explored the training methods of the Saxon Brothers, their methods really speak for themselves. They literally specialized in training for the bench press. Their goal was to strengthen themselves by using heavier weights than they were actually accustomed to, in their own shows. They used every method they could think of to train the bench press in different ways possible. Everything that came to their minds they tried. It was their bread and butter, and they could not allow themselves to be defeated by other local strongmen. Therefore it became an absolute necessity to become stronger and stronger at this lift. They would practice the bench press using heavier weights that they had ever lifted, as I mentioned in their shows, bringing it up to their shoulder with 2 hands, and basically doing what you would call overload, and holding it for a long time with one hand to make the wrist stronger, as an example. So they would train their ligaments and tendons in this fashion. Other times they would try to bench press such weights well over their own records, as far up as possible, and just try and muscle it out. They would bench press weights much in excess of their actual records, but they couldn't, even if they could not stand erect with it, they would still train with these weights. We're talking balls to the walls approach to and using brute strength, but in a very logical manner still, because they are using overload, progressive overload, using partial movements to build ligament and tendon strength. And really, overall, it was the combination of skill, balance, and strength that allowed them eventually to reach 424 pounds on the bench press to arm's length, although they never actually stood up with it. Can you imagine? To arm's length, 424 pounds on the bench press. Incredible. Now, another favorite lift of the Saxon Brothers was the 2 hands anyhow. Now, I mistakenly labeled this previously in a video as the bench press because I didn't realize that here Arthur was actually holding a ring weight. But the 2 hands anyhow lift was another favorite of strongmen back in the day. To practice this, they would lift a barbell to arm's length as shown in the photo, And going down into a deep knee bend, they would actually lift a pin or a needle with the other free hand. Talk about practicing dexterity with your hand. And they would repeat this again and again and again. Lots of repetitions to develop the strength to hold a heavy weight overhead and to have that manual dexterity and that confidence. And when they were confident and sure of their technique, they actually began picking up many weights off the floor, such as ring weights or barbells to arm's length. Here is, for example, Arthur doing a 448 pound anyhow. Yes, you read it right. 448 pounds. And I got this photo from a magazine that I have that actually has that description below. Just ponder on that. Almost 500 pounds. Incredible. Now, the Saxon Brothers were known as the great German giants of strength, and so they were known for many other feats. For example, Arthur Saxon had a big bent press barbell with a thick handle, and the three brothers actually would just run around to the stage with it 10 or 20 times, and this thing actually weighed close to, actually well over 300 pounds. Depending on how much they had loaded it, it could actually weigh even up to 332 pounds. And they would run around the stage 10 or 20 times over the course of a day with a double-handed overhand grip, just to develop their wrist strength and gripping strength. And they'd be trying to beat each other's time as they circled the stage. That's just one of their ways of training their grip strength. Incredible, really incredible stories. Here is a great little clip, photo clip that I took out from one of my magazines. And I think this photo just speaks for itself for any doubters out there. Read it for yourself. In this photo, Arthur Saxon at the bottom is holding 376 pounds in his arms. He is holding his brother Herman, who weighs 165 pounds, who is seated on a 55-pound kettlebell. Can you actually see that Arthur, on his extended arm overhead, he's actually not holding, I initially thought he was holding his brother by the belt, but he's actually holding a kettlebell. And Herman, his brother, is sitting on that kettlebell while he himself is holding a kettlebell overhead. Incredible, as that's what the photo says, while holding 100 pounds overhead. In Arthur's left hand is another 56-pound weight. Incredible, almost 400 pounds as a strength feat. This is just insane. These guys were truly strong, true strong men of the past. Now, for our last stunt that I'd like to present here is the 1-ton people support, where they would have up to 13 people sit on a wooden board supported by one of the Saxon brothers, as shown here. Here we actually have 12 people. But if you do the math, 13 times 75 kilos, which is the average weight of the normal person, is almost a ton. It's incredible. And to develop their grip strength, they would actually use a wooden board that was 27 inches by 9 inches by 4 and snatch this 30 to 40 times a day, again to develop their grip strength for the bent press. These guys were truly the great German giants of strength, no doubt about it. They were by far the greatest bent presses of all time, and one of the most incredible shows you could have ever seen, I'm pretty sure, back in the day. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't to the Golden Era Bookworm, and thank you for watching. Leave me your comments. I hope that you've enjoyed again this video and understand that it is specialization which was the key to developing this incredible strength in the bent press, and it is specialization in training for the bent press that made them the greatest bent presses the world has ever seen. If you'd like to support my work, please donate via PayPal or become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm, or visit my website for Bronze Era and Silver Era courses at goldenerabookworm.wixsite.com/website. That's it for now. This is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now. Visit goldenerabookworm.wixsite.com/website for courses from the Bronze and Silver Era of bodybuilding.